Hey there, this is Brennan from RocketLit, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up your rosters if you're not using Google Classroom. If you're logging in for the very first time, you'll have to go through a tour. The tour just explains that RocketLit helps serve reading to your students at different levels. We give your students a reading diagnostic when they first log in, and then we assign them articles at those levels. As they read more articles and take assessments, we move them up and down reading levels to adapt to their needs. That way all of your students are always reading within their zone of proximal development. When you first log in, the site will ask you to search for an article to use next week. You can search for a vocab word, a standard, or a topic, or go down and pick an article in our most popular articles section. I'm going to choose a competitive nature just to get us started. I'll click the green button right here to assign it. Now the article is assigned. To get your students started, we'll give you a link to sign students up into your roster. Send this link out to your students so they can sign in to your roster. When students click on or use that link, they'll go to this page. This says join your classmates. The ad code is already entered because it's a part of the link that you gave them. And it'll say, we're joining the RocketLit roster taught by, this is a test account. If students have Google accounts, they'll click My School Uses Google. They'll click here, it'll have them sign into Google, and then they'll automatically go into their accounts, take a diagnostic test, and then after they finish the diagnostic, they'll start the articles. If students don't have Google accounts, they can click My School Does Not Use Google and enter an email address or username and password. We strongly recommend that students use their Google accounts so that they don't have to remember a separate username and password for our site. Once you've copy and pasted that link and sent it out to your students, you can also set up other parts of your roster. We'll select a grade level. This will be a 6th grade roster, and I'll finish that. If you have more than one class roster that's using RocketLit, in your Rosters tab, you'll be able to create new rosters. Each roster will have a separate ad code that you can send out to students to have them join that class roster. In this account, we have 4 different periods, and each one of them has a different ad code. If I click this link, it'll take me to the web page I can share with my students. Copy and paste the website for the ad code for period 1 or for period 2, and send those out to students in period 1 or period 2. They'll go through the same process we just went over, choosing if they want to use Google or not, and then they can get started. As your students use the ad codes to add themselves into your roster, you'll see students appear in your period 1, period 2, 3, and 4 rosters. If they've signed up with Google accounts, then they can go straight to our login page on our homepage. To sign in, students will go to rocketlit.com, click Login, and then sign in with Google. If students signed up without Google, then they'll need to enter their school ID, their username, and their password. Your school ID is found at the very top of your teacher account where it says School ID. You'll give this number to your students if they're not using Google accounts. We strongly recommend you use Google accounts. That way students don't need to remember their school ID, usernames, or passwords. They'll just click Sign in with Google and go right on in. When students first log into their account, they'll see their upcoming assignments and your first assignment. This is our reading diagnostic. Students will read 3 short articles in a row and take 3 short assessments. As they read, their reading level will move up and down, and at the end of this, they'll see any articles that you've assigned them. The diagnostic should take between 10 and 20 minutes for students to complete, and we recommend having that be a separate lesson and then have them read their first article on a different day or at home or after school. That way students are able to get started with the site with the diagnostic, and they continue reading articles at their reading level. The first article that you've assigned them, they will get at their diagnosed reading level, and as they read more articles, that reading level will move up and down, and students will get any one of our 7 levels of each article so that they're reading within their zone of proximal development.